Welcome back to our second episode of 24/7 Laredo podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Jesus Garza. I've been working. Happy New Year and Feliz Navidad for all of you, of course. Our mission here at 24/7 Laredo is to provide you information, to have an open dialogue on issues that affect Laredo and South Texas. We are an original, free, and independent news site, and that talks about issues that affect the border, Laredo, and areas around here. The whole point is for you to be aware about all the issues, and then for you to make up your own mind what you believe in and who you're going to support. You can like us on Facebook or YouTube, so you can continue to follow us on our page. And I want to thank all of you, because at this point we've got over 76,000 followers, and we're all very grateful. We're a team of three guys here, or three people, and we've worked real hard to get to where we're at. So we're very grateful for all your support. Of course, there's always room for improvement, and along the way, I'm sure you'll let me know what those improvements are. We are a bilingual show. Sometimes we'll speak in English, sometimes we'll speak in Spanish. That's just the way they set up here, because it is a community which is basically Hispanic, and the majority speak Spanish as well. So we've got to work with what we have in terms of our audience. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us as well. Now, if you're knowledgeable about any political issues, or you are a candidate running for office and you would like to participate or come out in this program, feel free to contact us. Our email address is 247laredo2021@gmail.com. Feel free to let us know what you want to do. I do want to thank, of course, our candidate, Joaquin Rodriguez, who's here.
Hey, everybody.
And so he's running for the 111 District Court. And of course, we have our favorite colleague here, Mr. Juan Rodriguez, who's part of JR Noticias, who's been with us since 2019. Thank you, Juan.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you for
this
joining
is
us.
a Spanish version.
Yes, he'll do the Spanish version.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little bit of both. You know?
Sí, hay que hablar también español, porque estamos en una tierra prácticamente hispana.
Sí.
Y pues claro, tenemos los dos audiencias.
Que respetar los dos idiomas y respetar nuestra comunidad.
Y mantener informados a los dos segmentos. Y pues qué bueno que estamos aquí con Joaquín, el Bowtie Candidate.
Mr. Bowtie Candidate.
Vamos a hacerle varias preguntas y vamos a internarnos en cuanto a
conocerlo.
Es un hombre de 36 años que pues
es el más joven de todos
los
candidatos corriendo
eso no le quita ningún mérito, sino al contrario.
Eso es bueno, necesitamos gente joven que sea parte de la
comunidad. Con nuevas visiones, con nuevos empujes.
Pero con experiencia. Y yo tengo bastante en el corte, yo tengo bastante de abogado.
Perfecto, eso vamos a hablar.
Now, Joaquin, how is the campaign coming along?
It's coming along very well, y'all. Before running for office, I was always in my little bubble, and it's been very nice to venture outside and realize Webb County is a large place, and it just made me appreciate the rich and beautiful culture that we have here in Webb County. I mean, I've been to different parts of North Laredo that I've never been to. I've been to many parts of South Laredo. Wonderful people just opening their homes to me and wanting to speak about my candidacy. I mean, I even went to a church in Rio Bravo where they prayed on me and they dedicated their service to me and my campaign, and I was so touched by their spirit and by their love of the Lord. And man, it really inspires me to want to serve my community and make it the best that it could possibly be as a judge for the 111th.
Now you're running for the 111 District Court. And we've seen you on and off about what you want to do, but could you let us first know why you want to run as a judge? Why do you want to pursue be involved in the community?
Well, that's an excellent question. So I've been in public service my entire life. For the last 12 years that I've been a lawyer, it has always been in public service. Whether it's almost 9 years as a prosecutor, locking up bad guys, people who break the law. Also, for 5 of those years, I was locking up pedophiles, people who would hurt children, whether it be through sexual abuse or physical abuse. Anyone who would hurt a child in that manner, they deserve to be punished, because it sends a very big message to other people who would do things like that. Probably one of the greatest professional accomplishments of my career. Now, as the first assistant city attorney, I continue public service. I represent the city of Laredo with all of their legal issues. I also help with litigation for the city of Laredo. I've been in public service for 12 years, and I want to continue that from the bench. So I guess the question is, why the bench? We are a nation of law and order. We are a nation of laws. The only way that we keep that system intact is by maintaining trust and transparency in our judiciary, in our judicial system. The way that we maintain trust for our judicial system is to have good judges with experience and high levels of integrity, making sure all of our judges have the character, the experience, and that they're able to be fair and impartial without any political alliances and without any sort of alliance to anyone. That's why we need to have fair and balanced judges. Judges who can make the right calls using their experience, but also have the compassion to make decisions when it comes to sentencing individuals or things of that nature. I am the right person for that job because I have shown that I have the heart of a public servant.
Yes. Juan,
y la experiencia que has acumulado como prosecutor y todo eso, vas a estar en una corte más grande, la 111, en el caso de que el electorado vote por ti. Es un mundo inmenso ahí también de casos de todo tipo, no nomás de pedophiles, sino de muchos, incluso civiles también. Uh-huh. ¿Estás listo para enfrentar ese tipo de casos que muchas veces son complicados, que ni siquiera los jueces que ya tienen mucha experiencia lo hacen una edición rápida, batallan? Uh-huh. ¿Dices que tienes experiencia ahí la suficiente o la vas a ir ganando día con día?
I already have the experience necessary for this type of court. And so whether it's the criminal experience, and part of the docket for the 111th is criminal cases. And I'd like to remind the people of this community that some of our best judges were former prosecutors. The Honorable Monica Knotson was a prosecutor. She was the first assistant district attorney for many years. Judge Lopez was a prosecutor. The Honorable Judge Joe Lopez was a prosecutor.
Becky
Palomo was a prosecutor for a decade. Judge Hale was a prosecutor before going into civil practice.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have some very good judges who were former prosecutors, and it's because as a prosecutor, the job of a prosecutor is to seek justice, not to just convict people. Seeking justice means taking everything into account and making the right decision on whether or not you're going to pursue a case. That is the sound judgment that I bring to the bench, looking at a case holistically, looking at every case on a case-by-case basis and making the best decision possible. Now, in terms of civil experience, I do civil litigation for the city of Laredo. I am very familiar with that, and again, I'm a trial attorney. One of the biggest things that judges do is they conduct trials.
I remember you.
Yes, and I remember you covering my cases in trial. Yeah. I've picked juries before. I've done voir dire at least 15 times, where I have picked a jury. I'm well versed in jury selection process, and as a prosecutor, I was in court all the time, so I know how. And for most of my time, I would say about 7 to 8 years as a prosecutor, I was in a district court. I was only in a misdemeanor court for about 9 months before I was promoted to being a drug prosecutor, where I prosecuted high-level narcotics cases. And then it was straight to SVU for 5 years, where I prosecuted people who would hurt children or commit sexual assault. And then after that, it was trying murder cases, aggravated assault cases. All of that work was done in the district court, and most of it in the 111th under the Honorable Judge Monica Knotson. So I understand very well how the court works and the types of cases that are in there, and I have the requisite experience for it.
Now, what stands for? I'm sorry. What stands for SBU? For the language.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's the Special Victims Unit. In the Special Victims Unit, the types of cases that go to that unit are child abuse cases, whether it be physical or sexual abuse. That also includes the murders of children, which I have tried as a prosecutor. Sexual assault of adults as well, and also any offenses against our elderly population as well.
Interesting. Right. Well, again, could you tell the public what type of cases the 111 District Court has, other than just, it's got criminal and civil, but could you be more specific as to the type of civil cases you handle or the court handles?
Okay. Well, I will start the answer to that question with, it is a court of general jurisdiction. Now, what's funny is that on the campaign trail, you meet all kinds of people.
Yes.
and you tell them what you're running. You tell them what you're running for, and a lot of times they say, "Are you going to help me out when I get a traffic ticket?" And then I have to remind them that the 111th is not a ticket court.
Yes.
It's not a traffic court.
It's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. This is where a lot of big time cases go, whether it be criminal cases. And let's be very clear for the viewers. The death penalty is very much legal in the state of Texas. So there is a possibility that a death penalty case can go into the 111th. So we're talking about cases that affect life, liberty, and property. In civil cases, sometimes you have cases that are multi-million-dollar cases that take a judge who is going to put in the work. Now, I know, Mr. Rodriguez, you talked about, well, how do you know all these things? How are you going to make a quick decision? You do the work ahead of time. When I prepared for trial, I didn't just show up to the court and just wing it. I didn't show up to the court and just do it. There was weeks of preparation involved.
The backgrounds and everything.
Yes, weeks of preparation. And you can ask Mr. Alanis, you can ask Ms. Jackman, you can ask any prosecutor. It takes a lot of work to try a case. I'm going to use that same work ethic on the bench. I'm going to read everything the lawyers give me. I'm going to look up the cases that they cite to me. And I'm going to do my own independent research. And I'm going to come up with the best decision for that case. A fair, honest, and just decision based on the law and nothing else. Not politics and not who's on one side of the case.
And that's really what people need to understand. When you're a prosecutor, your job is to seek justice, not necessarily to prosecute everybody.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, when you're a judge, you sort of have a similar set of thoughts because basically it's the same thing. You're going to hear all sides, and you're going to have to use the same type of critical thinking to be able to get there as to whether you're going to prosecute, if you're going to find somebody guilty or not, or whether or not you're going to find them true to a charge or find them by preponderance of the evidence that he or she owes this amount of money. So there is a sense of critical thinking through the process.
Absolutely. And I guess one just as an example, this started when I was in the misdemeanor unit. I actually had 2 theft cases. One theft case was one theft case was from HEB. You're kind of getting ahead of me. One case,
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Well, one case was a 19, 20-year-old woman who went to Walmart and stole a bed for her baby. Okay. Because she was tired of her toddler sleeping on the floor. So she in an act of desperation, she went to a store and took something that wasn't hers. She was caught red-handed. The police got there, arrested her, and then the file came to my desk. No criminal history. She was in a desperate situation, and she was arrested. So you look at that case, does justice dictate that you throw the book at her, that you prosecute her to the full extent of the law such that she spends
a crime is a crime.
A crime is a crime, absolutely. But it's more than that. In order to get justice, Mr. Rodriguez, you need to show mercy and compassion. Without mercy and compassion, there is no justice. Now, you look at this case of this single mother.
There has to be a task for any judge?
Absolutely. It's a task for any judge to weigh everything. Now, the second theft case I had was a guy with a long criminal history who stole fajita from HEB for the Cowboys game.
Yeah, I remember that.
That person should have known better. He had already been arrested previously. So
other times.
You need to lay down the law in that situation. But that's the balance that you're striking.
In the first case, what you did on this lady, poor lady, there were,
I did not move forward with the charges because I felt that she was sufficiently punished with an arrest. Yes, I did not accept it for prosecution because, in my view, justice did not require me to have this single mother spend more money on an attorney, spend more money in our justice system, because who's that going to hurt?
And
the child?
What Walmart said
they're getting their property back.
Yeah, they got insurance.
But they got insurance too.
No crime anymore.
But it's not. But that's not. Again, it's the issue of mercy is very important.
That's how
it's a little slice of the requirements that you got to let your critical thinking go to.
Absolutely.
At one point, sending somebody to jail does not serve any purpose other than to embarrass them, and really they've already gone through the whole process of being embarrassed, especially the Class B's and Class C's. The other question that I have, is the issue of people who can't afford an attorney. Okay. And there's a lot of people who can't afford attorneys because it is expensive. Going through a divorce, DWI, or some type of a criminal case. Explain to the public, if I don't have an attorney, it's a criminal case, what happens?
So in a criminal case, you have a Sixth Amendment right to an attorney. Whether you're charged with a misdemeanor or a felony, you have a constitutional right to get an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one is appointed or provided to you by the state of Texas, the county of Webb. So the options for people who can't afford an attorney are the public defender's office, wonderful lawyers there at the public defender's office, or you get one of the many talented lawyers that are in our criminal defense bar who are on the court appointment list. So in a criminal case, you have a constitutional right to have counsel. In a civil case, there isn't that protection. If you are being sued civilly, or if you need some help in the civil justice system, there are some options. You can contact the Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, or you can possibly seek the services of a lawyer to do the work pro bono. Pro bono. So those are really the only options. Or a person in court can represent themselves pro se.
Oh,
that means they represent themselves.
What kind of cases? It could be.
Oh, it could be a divorce case.
Not criminal, right?
Not criminal. You can represent yourself in a criminal case, but I would advise against it. Advise against it.
You must never think that you can defend yourself before the state of Texas on a criminal case on your own. You can't, because the state obviously knows all the laws. The judges know all the laws, know all the evidence, and you don't. And chances are you're going to violate your own constitutional rights by even talking about it.
Yeah.
So I would urge always to get an attorney before you talk, because chances are you're going to get yourself into trouble more so than you do if you don't do that. What we're going to do at this point, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Joaquin Rodriguez, candidate for the 111 District Court.
My name is Joaquin Rodriguez, and I'm running to be your next 111th District Court judge. I was raised right here in Laredo, in the Ghost Town neighborhood, not in a political family, and not with generational wealth. I grew up like most families here do, learning early that nothing is given and everything is earned. I'm a proud product of the Laredo Independent School District and a graduate of Nixon High School. I worked my way through college and went on to Texas Tech University School of Law, always knowing that I wanted to come back home and serve the community that shaped me. I met the love of my life in high school, and I married my high school sweetheart. And today, I'm most proud of being a husband and a father to my son. Being a family man keeps me grounded and reminds me who the justice system is really for. Professionally, I spent years as a prosecutor, including in the Special Victims Unit, standing up for children and victims of violent crime. Today, I serve as the first assistant city attorney for the city of Laredo. I'm Joaquin Rodriguez, and I respectfully ask for your vote.
Welcome back to the show. We have Joaquin Rodriguez, who's actually running for the 111 District Court. And of course, we have our own colleague, Juan Rodriguez, on behalf of GR Noticias. Thank you for being here, Juan. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, pues tengo una curiosidad. ¿Por qué dicen a bow tie candidate?
Since 2011, when I was doing my mock trials in moot court and law school, I'm in Lubbock, Texas. I went to Texas Tech School of Law in Lubbock, Texas for 3 years. And, I did advocacy, I did competitions. And everyone's really tall and, everyone stands out. I'm only 5'7" and moderately attractive. So you need something to stand out, and it's the bow tie. But the bow tie, it represents a standard that I hold myself to. And that standard is to always be prepared, to fight whenever I can for my clients. And it's also the standard that I live my life by. It's a standard of preparation, meeting opportunity, and equaling success. And that's why I wear the bow tie.
Now it's some kind of a shield or something that you're going to be protected and,
Well, you feel comfortable with the bow tie.
against-
Actually, you ever since you were practicing in my court, you've been wearing a bow tie. So
Yeah, since I know
he's
him.
had at least 10 years.
years.
He's been at it. So.
And people think it's a gag for the campaign. I have
No.
worn a bow tie since 2011, and I have one long tie, and it's only for funerals. That's it.
Oh, really?
Well, let's hope that you don't get to take that one out anytime
No, I do
soon.
not know.
Now, meantime, you are a city attorney or a first assistant to represent the city of Laredo. What type of cases do you handle with the city of Laredo? What comes to your legal department there?
Everything. We have over 30 departments in the city of Laredo. All of them have their legal issues. I have my boss, Mr. Zone Nguyen. He's the city attorney. I'm his second in command, and we have a wonderful staff of very confident and capable and smart attorneys, and we handle the legal work for the entire city. Now, we do a lot of contracts. We look over a lot of contracts, do transactional work. We draft contracts. We handle all the general counsel for all of the departments, and those departments are utilities, parks and recreation, airport. We do a lot of real estate for the city of Laredo. I act as also general counsel for our council members and the mayor and city management. And we also do a lot of in-house litigation. Mr. Zone Nguyen is board certified in employment law and litigation, and I've been a trial lawyer my entire career. So we do handle cases in-house.
Do you represent the city or do you represent the employees?
I represent the city of Laredo. So anytime an employee or even a council member's interests are in conflict with the greater city of Laredo, we represent the city.
So there are times that this councilmen get their own attorney, or these people, these city employees get their own attorney.
Absolutely. Like we don't represent employees. If they are sued in their individual capacity, then they retain their own attorney. But if the city of Laredo is sued, or the city of Laredo is a party in some sort of litigation or in a transaction, we handle the legal work for the city. One of the most interesting things about being a municipal lawyer is knowing who your client is. And you go to any CLE, which is continuing legal education for municipal lawyers, that is always a class. Who is your client, and when do the interests of, let's say, a council member or an employee diverge or stray away from the city's interest?
Exactly. But that's important because sometimes there's some cases where sometimes there may be issues with a city council person that may have totally different interests in the city, and then you have to make that determination. They have to get their own lawyer on those issues.
Absolutely. And again, our city council members do an excellent job of knowing the difference. Our city attorney does an excellent job of knowing when there is a conflict, and we fight for the city of Laredo, and we make sure that the interests of the city are taken care of.
Well, now, I do have a couple of questions dealing with the issue. If and when you become a judge, you belong to the juvenile board. The juvenile board is a board of judges, which includes all the judges, including the county judge, to oversee the juvenile detention center and the juvenile department. And recently, there's always issues or periodic issues with juvenile crime in our community. What are your thoughts concerning the issue of crime, and what are your thoughts in terms of possible programs or things that you may consider bringing to the table or suggest to the juvenile board how to deal with crime, juvenile crime?
Juvenile crime is is an interesting dynamic, because juveniles can commit crimes, but you have to ask yourself, do they have the mind of an adult? And these are the things that these are issues that are old as our Bible, right? You have 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 11, right? When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I thought as a child, and I acted as a child. But when I became a man, I took away childish things. I shed childish things. Even our Bible tells us, children are going to make mistakes because they think and they speak like a child.
And the set of rules for them is different.
It is different.
They're not seen as criminals. They're seen as respondents. They don't go to jail. They go to a detention center. They don't get the death penalty. They get detention.
Exactly.
They can't speak for themselves. They're still juvenile. That's why they're juvenile. But my question is, okay, I'm sure we can argue. There's some people who can say, you know what, but a lot of those juveniles can create a lot of really bad crime out there.
Absolutely.
So are there any programs that you think, or are you satisfied with the juvenile department and the way they're handling issues right now? Are there any issues that stand out for you in juveniles?
No issues at the moment. I think the juvenile department does an excellent job, and our county attorney is the one who is responsible for determining whether or not, in their opinion, that they should certify juveniles as adults.
Right.
So, I mean, as it has to be taken on a case-by-case
Right,
basis.
and obviously because I had experience doing that, but that's where the juveniles get certified as adults, and then they're transferred to the district courts, and then of course the district attorney's office comes in and then prosecutes those cases down the road. But they never get the death sentence as they do as an adult, because that's a totally different set of rules for adults.
It's also unconstitutional for
mentally
anyone under the
challenged.
age of 18 to be executed in our country. I also
Exactly.
teach a constitutional law at Texas A&M International University.
Okay, so you're kind of.
I'm an educator as well.
Very
What do you now? Go ahead. You have the question.
No, go ahead.
My other question was that, on 24/7, there's a lot of people. Like recently, we wrote about a story about how people are charged for certain crimes, such as sex crimes, and somehow in the district court levels, when they go to district court, they get brought down to maybe an assault, or they're brought down to lesser included offenses. Do you plan to be tough on those types of cases, or what is your view concerning bringing down cases, or was there maybe a mistake made by the district attorney's office for charging such a high crime and then bringing it down? Because when the public reads it, it seems as if we're soft on crime sometimes.
And I can see how someone from the outside of the system would think that way. But what I'm here to tell you is that everything is done on a case-by-case basis. So let me give you an example. Let's say a person is arrested for sexual assault of a child. Okay. Now they're indicted. They're in the criminal justice system. Now they are going to face those charges in a court of law. I've had cases where the victim of that abuse no longer wants to testify. And for good reason. They're a child. They're maybe I've had victims as young as 5-6 years old. And some of these victims don't want to face their accuser, and they have to. By law, these children have to testify in open court in front of strangers, in front of the person that hurt them. So I've had cases where these victims say, Mr. Rodriguez, I know you're trying to put this person in prison, but I don't want to testify. I don't want to testify. I don't have, and it's not like I'm going to tell a child, no, you have to because it's going to hurt my case. No, these victims can use their voice however they want to. It is their personal choice, their choice and their parents' choice if they want to testify or not. And as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, we can't control that. So if a child wants to not testify, we have no choice but to either dismiss the case sometimes or to offer probation and see if they take it. And probation isn't a walk in the park either. For 10 years, for many years, they're under the watchful eye of the government. And if in that time period they make a mistake, they commit another crime, you can put them in prison after that. And it's an easier standard. It's no longer, it's a much easier standard, as you know, Judge. So there's a lot of factors that go into what offers are made, and it isn't a mistake on the DA's office. It's just that every case is different. And just like every child is different, every victim is different. And you can't just put everything in a nice box sometimes.
Okay. You have any questions?
Changes the subject. What's the difference between court of law and the district court?
There really isn't a difference. They're synonymous with
what
one
they
another.
name
You mean
different.
county court at law?
Yes,
So county court at law is established. It's statutorily, okay, just like a district court. But county court at law, the legislature will say how many county courts you get in a particular area. In the county of Webb, we have 2. Their jurisdiction is limited in some way. They handle a lot of probate, they handle criminal, but mostly misdemeanor work. Okay, and there's other general jurisdiction issues that they handle. The district courts here in Webb County, they handle everything else. Felony cases, felony criminal cases, and all types of civil cases. That includes family law cases. That includes property disputes, civil litigation, I mean, it's a lot of.
It does not include forcible retainers or
No,
evictions.
no, it does not include. It does not include
Traffic tickets.
Traffic tickets. No, it does
so
not. And anything that is just a fine only.
Right.
Those types of cases
They
don't
stop
go.
at the court, county courts of law as the final appeal process.
It's a very these courts are very, very serious courts in this county. And again, if you are in one of those courts, your life, your liberty, and your property are at stake.
Well, the only thing I do want to add that the county courts of law handle probate. They have the exclusive jurisdiction to handle probate. And that means anytime somebody passes away, all their pertenencias or their estate is going to be handled by a county court law judge before it's handled by a district court. However, all the murder cases and so on are treated, of course, in the district courts.
Yes.
So certainly people need to know a little bit of the distinction, but at the end of the day, you got to have the same type of philosophy.
Absolutely.
And what would be the philosophy be in terms of a case that goes before you? How do you treat?
So first, you treat the parties with dignity and respect. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, how much money they have, what kind of family they come from. You treat everyone with dignity and respect. And that's not something I learned as a lawyer. That's something I learned from Edna and Sergio Rodriguez, my parents. They taught me at a young age. It doesn't matter whether it's a CEO or the person that picks up your trash. You treat everyone with dignity and respect because they are a human being and they are a child of God. And so that is the philosophy that I'm going to bring to the district court. And then it's about being fair and impartial. You don't pick a side. And it doesn't matter, oh, did this person give to your campaign? Did this person, where they come from? No, everyone is treated the same. And the only thing that differentiates themselves are their arguments and what does the law say and what are the facts. You hear the facts with an open mind, with an open heart, and you make the best decision based on the law, free from politics and free from any undue influence. And you also have to have the integrity to make the right decision, and you have to live your personal life with great integrity and have the most unimpeachable character.
Definitely. And I guess that goes to the issue of being a city attorney. You, if you get selected or be elected by the public and there's city cases pending, what are you going to do with those city cases?
I would, well, depending on whether or not there's a conflict. So there's two ways that a judge can handle that. They could be legally disqualified from handling the case, meaning there is a legal reason why they can't sit and hear that case, like there's a conflict of interest or something like that, or there's a recusal. You can make the decision to just say, listen, for the sake of justice, I'm going to refer this case to one of my other colleagues.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, my last question.
Okay.
So it seems like you're Christian, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that going to make a big difference in the court, or but some other judges, they are not Christians, so they're with another religion beliefs?
Right. So you're talking about the religious beliefs. Is that going to affect your thinking?
No, I mean, it's going to make the difference. Like it will be more with compassion and.
Well, what I will say is that if
that means something.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, it doesn't. So my religion has given me what my values are, but religion doesn't guide my decision making because I'm also a firm believer of our First Amendment, the separation of church and state. And as a judge, you don't use your religious beliefs to make decisions. What does the law say? What does the law say and what are the facts? Now, I am guided by faith in my personal life, and I am guided by faith as a human being, but that does not mean that I cannot follow the law. The law is what it is, and when you become a judge, you take an oath, and you put your hand on the Bible, and you take an oath to uphold that law, to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of this state, and all the laws of this state. And that is a vow that I've taken since day one, and I have upheld that vow since day one.
Thank you.
In closing, when people are going to go vote, on the day they're going to go vote, what issue or what is that you want people to remember about this particular race and why they should vote for you?
This is a race about who has real experience, and this is a race about who has the most integrity. Which candidate lives their life with a bright character and the most integrity? Okay? Look at both candidates. You can't separate the person from the robe. If you endorse or you vote for a candidate, you are voting for the person. So you have to look at how that person lives their life. Public records show that my opponent is unable to follow the law in his own personal life, whether it's not paying his court-ordered child support, not paying his federal income taxes, not paying his credit card debts, or his property taxes. If one is to judge the law, they must first follow the law in their personal life. Look at both candidates, look how they live their life, and you will know who can be fair and impartial. And I wish that this was not an issue in this race, but it is my duty to inform the public about who the candidates are. It is my duty, and the people deserve to know these things. And some people may say that's a personal attack. It isn't, because in the 111th, the judge who sits on that bench is going to have to make decisions about child support. How can a person order a spouse to pay a single mother their child support if they themselves didn't pay? How can we expect someone to follow the law if they themselves cannot follow the law in their personal life? That's what this race is about. Who has the most integrity?
Well, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate
It's been
all
a
of
pleasure,
yours.
Judge.
It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Mr.
And,
Rodriguez.
I want to thank
It's a
the
pleasure.
public for watching,
Thank you.
of course. I want to thank GR Noticias, Juan Rodriguez, for being here, for helping
Thank
us
you,
out. You
Judge.
can check him out on his Facebook page, on GR Noticias, is that correct?
Noticias,
And
Noticias.
please follow him as well, because he's got very good information. Sometimes I even follow him because he got better news sometimes than me. That's for
And I
sure.
follow you
Yeah, so
sometimes
that was
also.
and I want to thank you, Jonathan,
Joaquin.
I apologize, Joaquin, for being here. I really appreciate you making it. I look
It's a
forward to seeing you
JR.
again.
It's a JR also.
That's right.
Also
so
JR.
that
Maybe
comes-
another GR winner here. I don't know. But I want to thank you for being here. In the public, I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you again in a few more days. We got another candidate coming in. Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all.